stuff, you've put stuff out, and it's not bringing you leads. It's not bringing inbound leads, the thing that you actually want. Maybe you've bought the courses, maybe you've done the trainings, you've been on the webinars, you've done all the best practices, and it's still not pulling in leads. So what we're going to do this morning for a little while is we're actually going to talk about why that is and what's missing. There's 3 things you want to include in your content. 1's great, 2's amazing, 3 you'll be blown away. And these key things will actually help your content drive people to want to talk to you. So if you're posting at the moment and it's not really bringing you what you know it should be, you're putting the great stuff in there, you're doing all of that great stuff, following all the best practices, the hooks, the videos or carousels or whatever advice it is this week, there's something missing from your content. And I'm going to explain what those things are right now. But before I do, I want to just mention this Friday, I'm actually teaching some stuff on this. You'll see a post in my feed. Go and have a look at it because I'm going to share some stuff there that I've never shared before. So go and have a look at it, comment on it, and I'll send you the link to get into that call. But there's a couple of things I want to explain about why content doesn't convert and then show you the 3 things that are actually going to make it convert. And you can try these today. So why does content not convert? There's a couple of reasons. One is it's just information. You're just giving people information. So in other words, they can find it on Google. They've probably heard it before, all of this stuff. And I found it hard to get my head around this personally because it's like, sure, it's great information. Why would they not appreciate it? And then I realized I'm speaking to people's logical brains. People don't buy logically. They buy emotionally and then justify that decision with logic. So if I lead with the logic, I'm not appealing to the bit that motivates them to buy. So Wikipedia content, or what I call just information, just doesn't cut it because it's just appealing to their brains, not their emotions. And it's emotions that motivate people to buy. Like a lot of what we do is an emotional decision and we wrap it up in logic to it makes sense. That's why you've set a plan many, many times and you've set plans and then you've dropped the plan because you didn't feel like it. You lost interest. Your emotions kind of made you drop it. Or you've set a plan and then you've seen somebody else's strategy in a feed or something and bought a course. The emotions override the logic because we're emotional creatures. So Wikipedia content, information without touching the emotion and touching how people's emotions and how they feel about things misses it. The other reason why is we try to educate people to a sale and it doesn't work. We think that if we give people lots of useful tips, it will actually encourage them to buy from us because they'll see how great we are. And if this is what you put out for free, how amazing will it be what they put out paid? How amazing are they to work with? And that's the logic of it, but it doesn't quite work that way. So you can build a huge audience by just giving tips that help people day to day. I'm not saying don't post any of this stuff, tips and tricks and how-tos. It's actually useful for building trust, but it won't actually convert. And here's why it won't convert. Every tip, you will help people make progress. Now, that's good, right? That's good. You're being helpful. And if you're very mission driven, brilliant. But when you're trying to convert and get leads, it's actually a kick in the teeth because you're doing it to kind of go, I want to get some interest. I want to get some inbound leads and they're not converting. But think about it. What do you do if you get a really good tip on social media and you go, oh, I must try that. And in effect, what you do is the how-to stuff builds huge trust. It might help you build an audience. It might get you more engagement, but it doesn't actually convert people. It convinces people they can do something by themselves. So in effect, your how-to content could actually be either postponing a sale or sending people off to do it themselves. And that's why often your content doesn't convert. So number one, it's not touching the emotional side of the buyer. And number two, you're trying to educate people to a sale. To actually get people to buy from you and want to buy from you and do it now, you have to create three things. You don't have to do them all at once, and they're hard. You have to learn them. It's a skill. But the first one, which is really important, is a wake-up call. Human beings love to sit in comfort zones, even when they hurt. We will tolerate a lot of pain. And so when you're trying to shake people out of that comfort zone, you have to make their comfort zone uncomfortable. How do you do that? You have to show them the tension between where they are and where they want to be, the gap. That gap really makes the status quo uncomfortable. Nobody will buy from you if they are happy where they are. And the problems with human beings is we adapt to our environment. So, if you're absolutely broke, and you're, as I did in my early 20s when I had a young family, couldn't pay my direct debits on time, so I bounced direct debits and got £20 charges. If you're absolutely broke, you get used to that. That's normal. But if you've never done that before, you're like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Oh, what's it got? So you normalize yourself to a situation, but as soon as you shake them out of that and make them realize their comfort zone is not normal, they have to do something about it. You've destroyed their comfort zone, in essence. The second thing is that internal urgency. Urgency is powerful for driving inbound leads. It's if you don't do something, this is what you're missing out on. Now, one of the things that's really tough is people want to get to a better place. We're all selling an outcome, an end result. They start here, they end up there. That in itself is not enough to go, I logically want that outcome. It's not enough. What you have to do is tap into, if you want inbound leads, that I can't move past this post because I am moving past what I want. You have to tie those two together. And how do you do that? Well, if you skip this post, for an example, you're saying, I don't need that. So what you have to do again is create another type of tension where you're appealing to their fear of loss, fear of losing out, fear of missing out. And you don't do that with the kind of FOMO, there's only 5 places, get it now. You have to remind them of that gap again, but this time from a fear of missing out. So, think about it as if you're going, do you know what? What I'm doing is saying, this is where you are and this is where you could be, and sandwiching those two together. So it's very, very similar. These concepts are very similar, but you're tapping into their fear of loss, their fear of missing out, their fear of losing. Humans protect this is the strange thing about us. We will protect ourselves from loss faster than we will pursue a gain. And so where the wake up is, you're trying to show them that isn't normal. The internal urgency is saying that you're going to lose out on this. And it's not about doing, high pressure tactics. It's reminding them instead of posting and nobody engaging, tomorrow you could have a post that's actually bringing buyers to you. It's creating that tension between where they are right now and where they want to be. So very, very similar. The first one is about kind of desensitizing them or sensitizing them to their situation. And then the third one is actually where, and this is where we often go wrong, is about driving their desire, showing them and speaking to them about what's possible, but actually holding back a lot of the detail. If you look at how you get leads, it's about, somebody goes to your website and downloads a white paper. There's an absence of information that requires them to act. If they want that information, they have to act. And so this whole piece is, I'm not going to convince you to buy. I'm going to make you curious so that you have to take another step. So if I show you how to make money on LinkedIn, I'm not going to explain exactly how it works and say, if you want to know how this works in detail, there. I'm going to show you what it can do and why it works, and then say, if you want to know how. I'm not going to give you the how, I'm going to give you the what and why. How is the how-tos, the tips and tricks. I give you the what and the why, the end result and the why. I don't give you the how. That's what they'll inquire about. So the wake up, you have to shake them out of where they are right now, what they've normalized, and you do that with tension of where they could be and remind them of where they are. And then the internal urgency is tapping into that fear of loss, the fear of missing out, which means they can't just move past the post. Now, these are difficult skills to learn. There is no denying it. They're not easy. But this is what we call demand creation content. It's compelling people to act. And so if they see that you're talking about a problem that they have and an outcome that they want, that creates the tension. And I explained this a couple of weeks ago in a live, that actually a bit like when you jump into a brand new car, maybe you've got a courtesy car because yours is in the garage and it's got all the nice stuff, and you've got that car for a week or so, you get normalized to that car. And then when you go back to the car you do own, and it's not as good, you feel it. But before you saw that car, before you had that courtesy car, you didn't feel it because you'd been normalized to it. So if your content's not converting and you're putting all this effort in, spending time creating it and putting it out there, and it's not bringing you what you want, and you know that you've got something great to offer, you know that you can help people, but it's just not landing, and it feels like maybe you're wasting a lot of time and not getting the return. These three things will actually drive it. So I thought I'd share that with you this morning. If you want to know how to do that in more detail, DM me. I'm putting together actually a little pilot video series on this. Before I sell it, I'm going to sell it because it's a big thing, but I want some people to try it out. So, and give me feedback so I can make it as easy as possible for people to actually do it. So if you want to know about that, just DM me and say, I'll be your guinea pig or something like that. And I'll send you the videos. And then I want your honest feedback about how did you find it? Was it easy to do? Where were the bits that were a bit tricky to figure out? Because this is like, it's tough to get your head round, especially when you're on the other side of the fence. When you're not the customer, you feel it differently, you see it differently. So getting your head in their world and going, how do I stir that up in them? How do I make that comfort zone feel a bit prickly? How do I drive that internal momentum that means they have to do something? And how do I create that kind of, I need this. So I'd love to get your feedback on that. So if you want to DM me, I will share it. But it's those three things that will help you get inbound leads. And Wikipedia content and how-to content will not get you leads. So it's Monday. Have a great Monday, and I'll see you tomorrow.